PHT versus co-working. So I'm going to tell you what those two mean in a second. So I was scrolling through social media a few days ago, and I ran across this post, and I wish I could get back to it to give the person credit, but she was saying that her theory was that a lot of young men are falling behind now and getting disillusioned and joining the manosphere because coming out of high school, going into college or going into training, a lot of young men would move in with women, and those women would kind of help them to kind of get themselves together, to kind of really finish growing up and get their feet under them and get established and kind of develop an adult mentality, an adult mindset, an adult lifestyle. And now women are not doing that. And she mentioned, she kind of created this name, Bobbina, like Bob the Builder, the cartoon. So Bobbina the Builder, and I thought that was hilarious. I've heard of Barbara the Builder, but Bobbina I thought was so funny. But anyway, I was like fascinated by this. So I went and I was looking it up to see if there were other people who were kind of, piggybacking on this idea. And there was a lot of research on it actually. And I found out about PHT, which was in the 1950s and all throughout up until really about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, there was this idea of PHT, putting the husband through. And starting in the 1950s, it was common for women to work to support their husbands through graduate school or early career training, and this was considered an economic strategy to help the family unit. Schools even had separate diploma ceremonies called PHT for wives who supported their spouse's education. Wow. But now, from 2020 till the present, so we're talking about the last 6 years, there have been this dramatic shift where a lot of young women are delaying marriage. Now, that's been happening since the 70s. In the 1940s, the marriage rate was 79%. In 1970, it was 70%. So it only dropped 9 percentage points in 30 years. But when we look forward, right, to now, it's 6%. The marriage rate is 6%. So it's decreased dramatically. So women are now delaying marriage and focusing on their career, focusing on decentering men, focusing on their own dreams, goals, ambitions, their own education. And so this whole idea of PHT is kind of been thrown out the window. And now there's an idea of co-working, that partners are going to, in a sense, risk share. They're going to take turns supporting each other through graduate school or early career steps, rather than one gender taking a back seat while the other gender moves forward. So I love this. And I think it's very interesting, again, that so much of men's success, it seems like, based on the research and based on this whole PHT idea, was based on women's sacrifice, women putting themselves, in the back seat, on the back burner. So what do you guys think about this? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd also love for you to check out my podcast, Zenergy, Zennurgy, and also to check out my 5 books on Amazon. I have 2 poetry prose memoirs, a children's book, a guided journal, an undated planner.